Right. Hey, hi. Here we go. So, why did I hold back the advanced information on the runouts? So, we have a runout series that I have. Look at me. I have a team. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, no, I made this runout series, and I released it. And before, when I released it, and back in my old days, uh, I put the entire runout on 7 balls and the 8 ball. And, once I came and started doing this channel, I realized that probably high 90%, 98% of the people that are on this channel that are supporting it and members and things are probably 550 and under, which puts them in the like higher up into the 550. You're probably getting closer to the advanced, but you're still probably in the intermediate range. Okay. And I know this because they're making comments and they're commenting on these runouts and they're saying, okay, there's a 550 or 580 or 570, or I don't remember what the guy's rating is, but he's over 550. And he was in the comments and he's like, man, I start with the beginner with the 2 balls and the 8 ball and I work through them. And, uh, and then I go to the intermediate with the 4 balls and the 8 ball, and I go through the patterns and the shots and the position plays and ball pocketing that way. And he was like, yeah, I totally get value off the beginner series. Okay. So now, that's an outlier person that I really have a lot of respect for, and really realize, wow, this dude is pretty humble, and humility is like a superpower, right? For learning. And I think, well, this guy is really impressive. Well, I'm going to go and tell you, in the past, what I found was people have a difficult time with humility. It doesn't come natural for them. And so when I released these before, and I just assumed that people would be able to uh, manage the process of, if there's 7 balls in the 8 ball, they're more I'm a real self-directed person, and I'm able to break down my training into chunks. So if I had s- if so like for instance, when I was playing Ghost, I've made other videos on this, but I was playing Ghost 10 ball and I'm like, this ain't working. I'm not having a high enough success rate. So I'm like, all right, I don't care if Alex or so and so or this and that person, everyone was, this was kind of during COVID, everybody was posting up Ghost, 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 Ghost. And I'm like, well, I'm going to drop down to 5 balls, and I was over 700. And I'm like, because it's because I wanted to learn the details of these shots. I was more concerned with learning pool than I was how many balls I was running. Okay. So I went all the way down to 4 or 5, 3 balls, 2 balls, Ghost, and worked my way back up to 8. And then I was happy just playing 8 balls of rotation, where I'd break a 9 ball rack and I'd pull one off if necessary, and I would take ball in hand with 8 balls and play from there. And it wasn't about my ego in that XYZ over 700 player was playing the 10 ball Ghost or the 11 ball Ghost or the 12 ball Ghost or whatever, or playing sets against the 9 ball Ghost, and posting online. It didn't matter what people were doing. It was what was going to help me to learn. Right. And so, I assumed that people would do the same. So if I post a video in training, if I have a series of videos in training and I have 7 balls on the table and I show them through how to run these 7 balls out and why these 7 balls need to be ran in this order, and I go through all the things that I go through on those videos, which are stop roll patterns, minimal cue ball movement, clearing your trouble first, also go through zone clearing, like 3 zones, 2 zones on the table. I go through congestion, what is true congestion on a table, like what's real congestion, and then breakouts. When do you go for your breakouts, and how do you decide which way to break out your ball, the balls and things. So those are the things that I teach on that video series that I have. So if you're not a member and you'd like to learn more about those concepts and become a crusher in your 8-ball game, then obviously it's $20 to join. And it's a guy yesterday, some dude. What's his man? This dude is awesome, but just some dude. That's who he is. And just some dude on the comments, he put in a comment yesterday and he said, I feel like I am robbing you, bro. And I'm like, yeah, you effers are all robbing me at $20 a month. So anyways, if a guy feels like he's ripping me off at $20 a month, you might want to consider joining and getting into the cult, A, and B, get in those people that are ripping me off. So there's about almost 60 of them now, and we're growing straight and strong. And you get a lot of protected content and tons of training and way more than just what you're seeing on these podcasts. But anyways, that's my infomercial. So consider joining and all that. But the point is why do I not have those 7 balls on the table anymore? Because I found through my experience that people are incapable as a whole, as a cross section, as a pattern recognition guy. I saw a pattern where people were completely incapable of pulling balls off the table. So I had to force them to pull balls off the table. So now, instead of having 7 balls and trying to get people through this run-out series, I actually chunked it down and I cut up their food and I put it on their tray and handed them their spork. And I'm like, okay, now if you're a beginner, follow these 2 balls and the 8 ball and learn these concepts. And if you're an intermediate, we're going to give you 4 balls and the 8 ball. Okay. And I'm not going to give anyone 7 balls and the 8 ball because that's not my target audience. I only have like a handful of outliers of people that follow my content that could actually run 7 balls and the 8 ball consistently. And I might only have, of my paid members, I don't know if I have anyone that can run 7 balls and the 8 ball consistently. So now I've released, one guy was in the comments, that's why this whole video is happening, is because he said, well, is the advanced stuff, is that an extra membership? And I'm like, no, it's not an extra membership. I'm not trying to make more money by holding this back. I'm actually just trying to help people, protect them from themselves is all it is. And just trying to protect people from themselves. And I'm saying, okay, I know through all my training time, working with people, hundreds of people now at this point, and spending a 1.5 years live training people twice a week on that people are almost incapable of governing, like not governing, like politically governing, but having a governor on themselves and doing the simplest thing. I cannot tell you how many times I was in that club running training nights and saying, please move the ball closer if you're having trouble. Please do this if it's not working. Please, please follow along this path. It was like herding cats most of the time. And it was consistent that people were not capable of, especially in a group setting, when you're live in a group, it's very difficult for people to do something and check their ego and back off and do something simpler. Everybody wants to do what everyone else is doing, and they feel uncomfortable, like someone's going to judge me if I can't do this and this and that. So it's like, not making fun of anyone. I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just saying, I've been around this, twice a week for, a solid year. That's like, well, 50 weeks. So that's 100, that's 200 training sessions, 200 training sessions. And I can honestly say most the time, almost like it would be, I can't even search my brain for someone that actually backed off and did something simpler when they were struggling. Most people just either did the same thing, or the other thing that they did, which was just awesome, was they would shoot it a different way. So I'm trying to teach them a concept, and then and then it was just like herding cats. They would all just go back. Like if I'm trying to teach like a rolling shot, they would just stun it. And I'm like, literally for 2 years straight, 200 nights out of that time, people would just stun when it was a roll shot. They would try rolling it, they weren't comfortable, and they'd stun it. And it's like, okay, so after all of that, right? And I go through that whole process, and that's a big sample size of many different people in many different situations. And I could be leaving someone out. There's probably 1 or 2 or 3 people that actually like followed along, but most of the time, and you can ask Jolie, if you guys ever run into Jolie, ask him, is Josh BSing? Is he exaggerating? Or did this actually happen? Because Joel was there on a lot of those nights. And he saw it like I saw it. And it's just funny, right? It's just people need help uh, checking themselves. So that's why I didn't release any of the advanced runout stuff, because of those 200 nights and my experience seeing it, and just knowing that people needed help. And it became, it actually, okay, I'm not trying to cap on people. I'm not trying to be mad or whatever. Oh, I'm so smart and they're so dumb. That's nothing like that. I'm just, as a teacher, I'm trying to find out, how do I become more effective? And I realized when I rebooted this, because I had all that intellectual property from that project, and it was like, you use it and we'll sue you. I'm okay, no problem. We'll just reboot it. So now here I am at Dobe's house rebooting this whole project. And it's a blessing for me. It's not a bad thing that I lost all that intellectual property. It's a blessing because now I can slow down. No, I can do what Ami says. I can stop. I can start over. I can slow down and I can be calm. And that's what I did with my intellectual property and this whole site that you're on, this new project, this new platform. I'm better now than I was then. So they did me a favor by doing that. They did me a favor because now I was able to rethink everything, not just re-release something that I had done. I can rethink it. And the point of getting it to be able to re-release it and do this over is I get a second chance to be a better teacher. And with this new platform that I have and the new program that I have, I'm able to use the same layouts, okay, because I stand by those concepts, like and the reasoning behind them, but I'm able to reboot them in a way that I was able to say, okay, I thought everybody could manage 7 balls on the table and they could pull balls off and kind of work their way up. So if I'm a beginner, I'll just start with the 15 and the 14 because they're all in numbered order from 9 to 15. And I thought they would be able to kind of self-regulate. And what I realized after the fact, once I got clear of all of it, is that, and I had a chance to reboot this, I realized, oh, you know what? I can help the people that are viewing this content, that are purchasing this program, by having it listed as beginner and intermediate and pulling the balls off the table for them. So I'll have videos just for beginners with 2 balls in the 8 ball, maybe 3 as you get into the system of learning more. And then with the intermediate, it's 4. It's 4 balls in the 8 ball. And I'm like, okay, I get to help them, self-regulate. And I get to be their ego for them, or I get to check their ego for them. And that's why I didn't put the advanced in, is because, I just learned in the past that people are sort of struggle with self-regulation and being honest with themselves. And so it's like knowing that I can be honest and I can say, I understand honestly where people's level of play is, and this is honestly what I think you can handle. So then what happens is people come into this new setup, and I am getting tremendous feedback from people that are part of this cult, this situation. And but it's like it sounds like I'm trying to sell you guys on joining and getting into this runout program, and it's like, I guess I'm really not. I'm just trying to share with you, as non-members, as people out in the public and people that view this content for free, that forget about whether or not you're in this program or whatever. Just consider, do you have the ability to be honest with yourself? Because that's what this comes down to in pool, is, are you honest with yourself, with your abilities? And that doesn't mean, are you negative about how bad you are at pool? That doesn't have anything to do with it. You can be honest with yourself and be positive about where you're at with your game. And it's not like, because you got to pull the ego out and just say, what do I do well? What do I do poorly? Where do I have to grow? And what can I honestly handle? And I've made other videos about this, about the number of balls you should have on the table if you're playing ghost pool, if you're in different ranges, right? And even one of the commenters said, hey, I'm a 550 and I tried to play 3-ball ghost on my bar table and it was a hot mess and I couldn't beat it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's kind of what I said it about a big table with one of my people that was like a 475 or almost just under 500. I'm like, you cannot run, like your honest reality is you're not running 3 balls ghost on a big table, a 9 foot, especially a 4 1/4 diamond. So now this guy went out on a bar table, said, that sounds crazy. He did it on his bar table and said, man, this guy is not BSing. He's just talking reality. And so I'm speaking my understanding of the truth. So for me, when I was playing Ghost, my truth was that I was struggling with 10 balls on the table. And so I had to be truthful with myself. And I had to say, okay, let's pull it down to 7. And then I'm like struggling. 6, struggling. 5, struggling. 4, struggling. I'm not present. I'm just so focused on the results. So I broke myself all the way down to like 3 balls. And I'm like, okay, let's go 2 and 3 balls. Let's start working on understanding how to be present and how to get this cue ball to go where I want it to go, and how to pocket these balls and be consistent and not just, I'm just going to run 10 balls. I was capable of running 10 balls, but I wasn't present. So it's like I had to break myself all the way down to 2 or 3 balls and be honest in my reality and tell myself the truth and live that truth. And I built myself up to where I could break 9 ball, pull 1 off the table. And I did 3,000 games that way, starting with 6 or 7 balls. And then by the time I got to the end of those 3,000 games, I had played 100 games. I told you guys this story, but if this is your first time meeting me or listening or hadn't watched that video, because I have a shit ton of videos, I would say that what happened was eventually I got to the point where I spent one Saturday and I played 100 games, and I played Ghost rotation, 8 balls on the table, making sure there's 8 balls when I started, taking ball in hand, and I beat the Ghost like 82 to 18 or something like that. So I got right around, I'm not sure of the score. I'm sorry. It was freaking 4 years ago, but it was an 80% win rate. And I'm like, okay, that's good, because before I did those 3,000 games, I would play, I sure wouldn't play 100 games of Ghost Pool without raking the balls if I wasn't winning. And so that was the whole purpose of pulling the balls off the table, to get into a success range, to have more joy, to put more volume in. I was like, I've explained this before, but that's why I went to the lower number of balls. But I wouldn't have been able to go to the lower number of balls if I wasn't able to check my ego, get in reality, tell myself the truth, accept that truth, and then move forward with that information. Okay. And then I'll just tell you a story about 10 ball. Okay. After I did all that thing and time went by, then I went out on a Brunswick 4 1/8 table, which is still, it's not a sloppy table, 4 1/8, because I have a 4 1/8 at my house, and it plays close to a 4 1/4 diamond, even at 4 1/8 on a Brunswick, because the shelf is shorter. Anyways, these are technical inner game things. 9 foot, whatever. And I've told this story in other videos, but I'm just going to say, I played 10 ball Ghost ice cold off the street, and I ran 9 in a row, playing 10 ball Ghost. And that's not pulling balls off the table. It's not doing anything. It's just take ball in hand without even warming up. And I ran 9 racks. And I wanted to win 10. I must have missed on the 10th rack or something. But anyways, and so what I'm saying is, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I hadn't gone back to 2 or 3 balls, because going back to 2 or 3 balls taught me how to define zones, how to play to those zones, how to ask more of myself, how to get present, how to stop just results. I win or I lose, I win or I lose. So it's a whole process that got me to the point where I could just beast mode the 10 ball Ghost, no problem. And I wouldn't have been able to beast mode the 10 ball Ghost, no problem, if I hadn't broke myself down and gone down to 2 or 3 balls. And so that's why I know this information. And so that's why I say, why did I not put the advanced information out, or the whole run out? Is for everything I just said. It all fits together for me and makes sense, because I've noticed that people are not really good at doing what I did. And so I thought, okay, let me help them. Let me get better, smarter at what I'm doing. Let me be a better instructor, a better content guy. Let me help guide people through this path of improvement better, right? Even if I gotta trick them. Not trick them, but hold back some information. I'm not holding back information because it's a secret the pros don't want you to know about. I'm holding back information to help them, because I'm trying to protect them from them. I'm trying to protect my students, whatever you want to call it, from themselves, because I know that that I'm experienced in that area, so I can do that for them. So that's it. And if you think that sounds arrogant or weird or whatever, then that's fine, because that's what I did and I stand behind it. It's working. It's working. The results speak for themselves. People are in the comments saying, I'm mind blown. I'm growing. I'm learning. This is so fun. This is so interesting. This is great. And they're going back to the beginner stuff, like, and saying, I'm doing the beginner stuff first, and then I'm going on to the advanced. And I'm like, that is killer. The people that are doing that, I don't remember every single one of you guys that are commenting that, but when you're doing that, I read that and my heart just soars and I'm like, excellent, excellent work, chef. Very nice. Okay. So that's it. That's kind of spamming you guys with some stuff. And I'll tell you a funny story. Some people like funny stories. This is about the last video I did. I talked about distance running and ultras and stuff. And I kind of messed around with that for a while. And yes, Nicholas in the comments, I'm answering this for you because he was back in the comments and he was talking a little bit about ultras, and he sounds like he's an ultra guy or a marathon guy. And it's Born to Run is the book. Yes, it's great. I already responded. Then he asked me in the comments, because I wanted to tell this story because it's a funny story. He asked me, did you ever run barefoot? And I'm like, because that was a big thing with the Tarahumara, is the barefoot running. And they were so poor that they would take like old tires and then they would just use that as their flat surface to run on. So, okay, first things first, I've come to find out that is bullshit, because it almost destroyed my feet and my shins and everything. So I do believe that padding helps, okay? Because I used to run in like these super flat shoes, and it would just effing killed my feet and killed my ankles and everything. And as soon as I got a proper pair of running shoes, like a lot of my pain went away. So I'm going to take issue with the old barefoot running thing. For me, this is my experience. This is my lived experience with running hundreds of miles, maybe 1,000 or more miles. I don't even know how many hundreds of miles I ran, but lots of miles, like with very low protection on my feet or padding. And I've got I've got some things. I've got like near flat feet, and I've got some supination things. And so I found out that was a mistake. Okay, so LOL. But the barefoot thing is the funny story. Who cares about the details of shoes or no shoes? But okay, so here's my one story with barefoot running. I got it in my head, I'm running barefoot, right? So I lived in the city and I had pavement and everything like that. So I didn't think of anything of it. I'm like, beast mode, I'm gonna go out and run barefoot. I'll run 10 miles barefoot, whatever, 6 miles, 7 miles. So I get my shoes off, bare feet, and I run out on the concrete and up the thing and the pavement. And I ran away from my house, and I got about 1.5 miles away, and my feet were bloody stumps. It was complete hamburger. And I was like, oh no. And I'm like stranded. So I had to limp home, 1 foot at a time, step at a time. And I was just like in near pain tears because I had like bloody stumps, and I made it home, and I never ran barefoot again, because I had no idea that if you're going to do it, you got to kind of build up to it, because I'm just an idiot, right? I was at the time, this is years ago, I don't know, before I kind of learned about humility and things like that, I was just like, beast mode, I'm going to do it, and bloody stumps. That's all I have to say. So the answer, Nicholas, is yes, I did run barefoot, and just think bloody stumps, and basically crawling home on my hands and my knees from 1.5 miles away. So there you go. That's my story with the Tarahumara and barefoot running. All right. So bloody stumps. Okay. That's it. I hope you guys got some value from this. And yeah, let's just try to find that self-direction and try to do it in a way that we can regulate ourselves and govern ourselves and check our ego. So, okay, we'll talk to you on the next one. We'll see you. Bye.